Are you one of the recipe keepers? No.
I would not comment on that.
Oh, you're not commenting on that.
We don't know who they are.
Oh, really? They're
secret.
they're never named. So not only is the bitter secret, but the people who know the bitters are secret. How important is that to what Angostura Bitters is? I mean, let's say somebody came out and said, "Here's a list." Could anybody ever really reproduce it?
Well, if you look at it from a technical or analytical point of view, it could be analyzed. You can make some reasonable assumptions. The thing is, it is a lot of spices in there, different spices, and if you were to do, as I said, the analysis, it will show up components that you would expect in the different spices, but the amount of each component wouldn't necessarily tell you how much is in there. All right, so we do have the people who prepare the botanicals for the percolation process, so they obviously know what they're putting in there. They don't know the amounts that are eventually weighed in to put into the baskets for percolation. So that's what the secret is. The secret really is the weights of the different spices that we use. And as I say, somebody can analyze it and come up with an idea of what it might be, but they may never be able to mix it in the proportions that we mix it in to come up with the correct flavor.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
I think you're part of an elite group of, like Green Chartreuse is in that, where 2 monks know the recipe, or each knows half the recipe. It's a small universe of sort of mystery, which I think is perhaps something that draws people to to something, because they don't know. Or, in the age of the internet, we know everything, and yet here's something that we don't really know much about.
And we take pride in saying that it is a secret. It has been a secret for 189 years, and it will stay a secret. That's the one thing we know in Angostura. Always remain a secret.
So, at what point did the orange bitters come about?
Orange bitters came in, I would say it would have been about 2007, 6 or 7, somewhere around there. And we were looking at different flavored bitters. So it was something like how Bitterroot functions now, and they have so many different flavors. And we did some market research and realized that the most commonly used one outside of the aromatic bitters is orange bitters in terms of flavors. So that's how we decided to work on orange bitters. We did have some ideas to start some other flavors, but we didn't see it as something that would really grow, and we decided we wouldn't go that.
What were some of the flavors that made the cutting room floor? Which were the ones that were considered that you...
Well, we were looking at some kind of unique flavors like pomegranate, and there was a special one called something with aniseed, and those different types of flavors where you really have a prominent flavor that you'll pick up, because the orange one is very, very concentrated.
Now, one of the things in the American bartending space that we've seen is bitter. I mean, we've seen Fernet drinks and so on and so forth. Does Angostura look at that bitter trend and go, "Oh, we know bitter. We're the bitters company." Do you make other extensions, or do you look at that space and go further?
We actually are doing quite a bit of R&D work because we are aware that that is a growing industry with the Amaro bitters, for instance. So we've, as I said, we've done some work. It's really to determine when we have the right product to get out there. But we also see that as an extension of promoting the growth of bitters.
Now, one of the other things that you guys talk about a lot with your bitters is just the extensive use, and I guess here in Trinidad, it's heavily used in cooking. Do you see that kind of applications continue to explode in the culinary market in the United States, of having it also behind the bar, but also on the on the chef's rack next to his other spices and salts?
Well, we would like to, because we think it is a great addition to any food, and that is where most of our target is. I think we've got through to the bartenders, we've got through to, and in most countries as well. So a lot of people understand it's for cocktails, it's used with in mixers and so on. I don't think many people understand how much you can use it in food and how much difference it makes in food. So that's why we want to enter more food shows and that kind of thing. We have a cookbook. I don't know if you were told about the cookbook, but it has some lovely recipes, all obviously with bitters.
So what's the most basic way for somebody to start cooking with Angostura?
Well, and I can tell you with Americans, and because they grill so much of their meats, just add it to the meat when they grill it. Because they don't use a lot of seasonings and so on. So you just dash some bitters, you marinate it in bitters, and you grill it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Easiest way to use it.
You know, with Angostura Bitters, hundreds of other bitters now. And you can taste them side by side. And there's some great ones. I mean, there's, you know, Del de Graaf has pimenta bitters, and Gary Regan has his orange bitters. And, you know, the quality of bitters now, in addition to the quantity, is extremely high. I mean, you're seeing the level coming up. But Angostura still stands out. Beyond the fact that it's magical and mystery and secret, what is it about it that enables it to stand out still so clearly, even with a field of, you know, hundreds of bitters?
I'm not sure if you're aware, there are different categories of bitters. So you have aromatic bitters, which is all bitters. You have flavored bitters, and you have digestive bitters. So they all serve, well, were originally meant to serve different purposes. The digestive bitters have become very popular as just a drink as is. Our aromatic bitters, as I say, is highly concentrated, and I think that's what makes a difference. In that you have such a unique blend of herbs and spices, because it really is, I mean, we're talking dried leaves, dried fruits, dried bark, or, you know, all those different mixtures. So it's not, when we say spice, just spices. It's really a unique blend. But the thing is the concentration that makes a difference, and that you have to use so little, and it can make such a big difference. The digestive bitters, the flavored bitters is really concentrated to different uses. So of course that cannot compare. But the digestive bitters are the ones that you can drink, and I guess it's because it's so dilute when it's compared to our concentrated spice flavor. It appears watery, whereas ours would be, you know, something concentrated in spice, and you actually see it in the viscosity of the liquid that makes a difference.
So when you consider back to the original start of Angostura, the original Dr. Siebert, with so many spices and herbs and so on and so forth from so many different places around the world, how do you think this guy managed to put, you know, all of this stuff together, you know, back at a time when, you know, we didn't have the modern trading that we have now and the access that we have now?
Well, remember again, he was a medical doctor, and he was intent on finding a solution to a special problem. This was the stomach problems that the soldiers were suffering from. So based on his knowledge of the different herbs and spices and what their properties were, that's how we would have developed it. All right, and that it has still worked. So while, as I said, we haven't gone through the medical testing to prove what the original intention was, the good part about it is that he was also able to discover that it's not only for us as a stomachic, but also it mixed well with a drink. It really enhanced a drink. So at least he was looking at the social side of it, and it worked for him. So
now
I think what he was able to do was to add more spices to really get that side of it.
Okay, so there was an evolution. There was really an evolution of what that was over time.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there in 1824 to what he did, but I think that was the intention. The fact that he discovered it could serve both purposes. So he would have enhanced the formula at that time to really get that right. I mean, it was things that are readily available, natural, all natural. So that's why we've been able to continue with that secret and flavor.
So one ingredient we can talk about, and that's gentian, because it's on the label.
It's on the label.
So for people who don't understand what gentian is and what role it serves, what is gentian and what role does it serve?
Okay, gentian is a bark. It's a dried bark that we use. Gentian is what constitutes what we call the bitter principle in bitters. It's a very bitter flavor. It carries a bitter flavor. It's very similar to things like quinine and those type of bitter extracts that you can get. I imagine at the time he would have tried, maybe quinine he might have tried. There are other bitter extracts that you can, but the gentian worked for him in the formula. And that's the reason that we also declared gentian on the bitters, because that really is the backbone of the bitters. That bitter principle that is needed to make bitters.
So you give us one thing.
Yeah.
And
Let's take many guesses at the end.
And is that something that's endemic to the area? Is that something that Siebert would have found either in Venezuela?
No.
Oh, really?
He would have actually sourced a lot of them from Europe. because he was from Germany,
Mm-hmm.
so he would have known about what was available over there and brought it across.
So really, in a lot of ways, he was bringing European knowledge and accessing European herbs and stuff with South American and Caribbean stuff to put all that together. Again, I think there's something wonderful in mystery. We have in our information age, there are very few mysteries anymore. And so it's nice to stare at that little bottle on the bar with the oversized label and wonder, what exactly is inside?
And I can also tell you that the Queen uses it, and that's why we have the royal warrant.
Mm-hmm.
And but I can tell you I'm the royal warrant holder. So.
How does the Queen drink her bitters?
I think she uses it in as a stomachic as well, but I think she uses it because I was actually able to meet. I can't remember his exact title, but he's the one who buys all the stuff for the royal household, and they use it in a lot of drinks and cocktails and that kind of thing. He was actually able to tell me that.
You talked about doing R&D a little bit on a bitter or Amaro. Is there anything else that we should be looking for from you guys in the future?
We're going slowly because I mean there's only so much we could do in terms of extension of bitters. And as I said, we see a winner in the lemon lime and bitters as a way to grow bitters. And if this Amaro, I mean, if we come up with something that could really compete with the likes of the Jägermeister and those people who I understand have tremendous volumes, it will be an excellent way for us to